Howdy y'all, it's Chris from Yellow Rose Homestead. As you can see, we're back at work. But today we're going to talk about what we're doing to take care of our chickens. Unfortunately, we lost our farm sitter, Janet. So before we get into the video, I would ask that you say a prayer or two for Janet, because she had to go back where she came from because she was diagnosed with cancer. Thank you for the prayers for her. Now, let's get into it. Okay, so what are we doing to take care of our chickens without somebody there? Well, I made two things. One was let's call it an automatic chicken feeder. And two, we put together an automatic waterer. The waterer, we got the parts from Tractor Supply, and for the feeder we got parts from Lowe's. So what I'm going to do is show you how we put it together, each item, and how we installed it. Okay, this is pretty easy to put together. This comes separate or apart. You have to install this float, and to do that you line it up in there. There's got some holes in there. And you take this cotter pin and you slide it through. And then once it's through, you'll bend the cotter pin on the end just slightly so it doesn't fall out. And make sure this gets seated real well. The bracket that's included, there's two of these, and you're going to slide it into these slots. Short little nut or screws, machine screws, whatever you want to call them, and it's going to go into this hole. Tighten it up, just make it snug. You don't need to make it super tight, and then do the same to the other one. Okay, once you have the brackets on, simply take it, place it over your bucket, and it comes with two thumb screws. You're simply going to put it in here and tighten it up against the bucket here and here. So this is sitting as flat and straight as possible and up against your bucket. Okay, and that is totally installed. Now all we have to do is test it out. Here is the intake for your water hose. You put the female end of your hose here and see if it works. Let me get a hose and check this out. Okay, while we wait for this to fill up, as you can see, it is working or filling right now. A couple things. It's going to work better if you put the hose on prior to attaching the automatic waterer to the bucket, and take your automatic waterer and install it on either side where your bucket handle is. It'll sit much flatter that way. Oh, and it's getting ready to stop, hopefully. While we wait for that to stop, one other thing, definitely want your intake hose to come from the top of your bucket. I don't know if you can hear, but it sounds like the water's still flowing very slowly. And it sounds like the water has stopped. There you go. Now all I got to do is get this mounted in our chicken coop and a hose run down there, and it'll be good to go. Okay, now I'm going to build a large volume chicken feeder. I have most of my components here in front of me, and one of the first things I need to do is take this 4-inch PVC pipe, and I need to cut a small section off of it to create a small section that will go between this setup and this piece. So I need to put a piece in between the two of them. In order to find the approximate size that I need, I'm going to use my Sharpie to mark the 4-inch PVC pipe. I'm just going to roughly get the length that I need by using this piece. And when you look at the piece, if you've never cut PVC pipe before or fitted any of them, where this seam is, or where it cuts back in, that's as deep as this pipe will go into this fitting. So just by laying it there, basically flushing the end of it, I can mark where that seam is. Then I just take the same fitting, move it to the other side of that mark again, and mark where I need to cut. Now, to cut PVC pipe, you can use specialized tools if you wish, but all you need is a handsaw. A decent wood handsaw is all you need, and you probably can even get away with a cheap one. Let me grab my handsaw and we'll get to cutting. As you can see, I just got me a inexpensive Stanley handsaw. Just put your handsaw on the mark and begin to cut. Okay, once you cut your piece, and keep in mind when you use a handsaw, it's not going to be very straight. That's okay. But after you cut, you're going to have all these little furry burrs and stuff in your cut. You want to clean that up. I just use a pocket knife and deburr the plastic. You want to do both the inside of the pipe and the outside. Once you have it deburred, you can fit your pieces together. And I still got plenty of room to press it together. I don't want to press it all the way yet, because I want to make sure everything's lined up properly. But that's all there is. And obviously you can glue these together if you want. I am not going to glue them together. I'm just going to do a pressure fit. That should be more than enough for what we're doing. Now I need to cut one more short piece off this to connect to this elbow, which will connect here. I think this is going to work out well. And again, deburr. And there you go. It's a high volume chicken feeder. That should hold a lot of feed. And to keep it dry, I got these test caps that are designed to help test pressure plumbing. But I got these test caps, so they just press on like so to keep water out. And they're easy to take off. If you make a feeder like this, please let me know below so we can check it out. If you do, especially if you do a video on it, we'd love to see how you do it. I'm going to install the feeder here. I've already made sure it's going to basically fit in this area. The next thing I need to do is figure out exactly where I'm going to have it punched through, and I already have a general idea. Once I've got it identified, I'm going ahead and cut this area out so this can go through.
Silly girls. What's he doing?
Okay, once I got that area cut, I'm putting this piece through, make sure it fits properly. And then the next thing I'll do is take this piece, put it on the back side. I'll tighten it up in a second, but that's what it's basically going to look like until I start attaching the rest of it. And temporarily, just going to use a piece of wire to wire it in place. Some proper hanging material if I can find it, and attach this to the coop better. It's on there pretty dang sturdy. The only thing I got to do now is put some feed in it, see how it works. And I'll show you that in a moment. You see how full I can put a little bit more in, but it's not enough to worry about at this point. All that's left is put the lids on. 30 pounds that I took, roughly, plus what I had in there already. That's pretty good. That should last them a little while. Now we just need to keep an eye on it and see how it does. Okay, I got the automatic water installed now. What I did, unfortunately I didn't record it because it was raining. But what I did, I cut little slots out on this side and the other side in the 1/4-inch mesh. Slid that piece of wood through. I took some paracord and tied it to the stick. It runs across the top and is tied to the other side. That way it doesn't put a lot of pressure on this fencing or mesh. It doesn't put a lot of pressure on this 1/4-inch mesh because it's not super strong. There it is installed. It works great. So far the chickens have already figured it out. I cut a hole in the top to put the hose through. And that's all there is to it. The feeder The feeder is working really well. Although I do suggest do not use the crumble. Use pellet. Because the crumble tends to jam up a little bit in there. So try using the pellet instead. Hello there, young lady. So if you're interested in knowing what kind of chickens we have Rhode Island Reds. We have 3 of those. And then we have 2, I forgot their names, but we have 2 of them, well bars. That's it. We have 2 well bars. Thanks for watching.